You're listening to the Fantasy Wildcard Podcast.
Good evening. Welcome to the Fantasy Wildcard Dynasty Show. I'm your host, Kev. You can follow me on X at Dynasty_Go. We've got the best two with you tonight. We've got my co-host, Mags, who you can follow on X at Hot Seat Mags. Good evening, Mags. Happy Halloween. How are you doing?
Oh, yes. Happy Halloween. I've come dressed as sad Chiefs fan tonight. How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I think the clock's changing smashed me a little bit, which feels ridiculous because it's an hour change. But yeah, a little bit darker on the morning, a little bit darker on the evening when you finish work. It's not ideal, but yeah, it's we're at the thick point of the season where we're nearly at the halfway stage, and there's lots to talk about. There's lots of topics, lots of great stuff to talk about. Sadly, we've not got Ali with us tonight. He's out trick-or-treating with Matt. So yeah, we just have to. I think it'll be done for next week, won't it? He'll finish his trick-or-treating, so we just have to.
I'm expecting some candy.
We need that candy back from the girl for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got lots to talk about. We'll jump straight in. We're going to be recapping week 8 of the Dynasty season. There's very interesting topics tonight, Max. We'll try and keep a little bit of excitement for the end of the show, but we are going to bring some excitement to start the show as well with your first topic, all about sophomore players that are in year 2.
Yeah, I just thought we could just spend a bit of time chatting about these second-year players, how they're doing, and if they've kind of lived up to their draft capital. So I kind of wanted to just pose a couple of things to you, and we might chat a little about it. Like, these players, all of them that we're going to chat about went in the first round in a lot of cases. Some of them you could say fell into the second, but they were like late first rounders at the very worst, I would say, in most cases. So I'm going to start off chatting about some wide receivers. And the 3 that I've really highlighted here are 3 that still have question marks over them, I would say. It's Christian Watson, it's Drake London, and it's Sky Moore. Those are the 3 players that, everybody really expected to take a bigger step up going into this year. I'd be disappointed with all 3. I can't lie. I think of the 3 of them, Drake London has got the most potential and the most talent, but I also think he's probably in the worst situation in terms of the system that he's in. So that's kind of unfortunate. Then you've got Christian Watson. Maybe it was Aaron Rodgers making him look good because he's been a bit banged up though. So I suppose you maybe still have some hope for him. You still have some hope for Drake London. Man, Sky Moore, I'm getting real fed up.
It feels so topical at Sky Moore when after that big drop on Sunday for the Chiefs, it was, Mahomes genuinely looked like fuming that he dropped that. Sky Moore's the guy that after one season I was out on. I did try to do the alley move of getting one share just in case. But yeah, I think after game 1 I was out. After basically did nothing against the Lions in week 1. He was on the field, but didn't do anything. So Sky Moore's not stepped up for me. It's been a real disappointing one for him. I think you got it absolutely spot on with the order you said. I think London, you've got the comfort in the talent and what he has shown. It's just that situation sucks. The coach, I guess a good thing is they've got to get a QB upgrade at some point on Ridder and Heineke. So that's something to look forward to. Maybe he's a potential buy low guy. But then Christian Watson's an interesting one, I think, because I was a fan because he was a little bit like a lottery ticket. We'd seen glimpses. We'd seen the 4 monster games he had last season. But I think looking at his overall career so far, I think outside of those 4 games, he's gone under 50 yards in every other game.
Wow.
That's a big worry. It's not ideal. Obviously, the move from Rodgers to Love was a concern. And Jaden Reed's been doing pretty good. Romeo Doubs has been doing pretty good. If he was looking at redraft or for right now, I mean, are you taking him over any of those two guys on that team? It does look like a team in disarray, a team that's struggled mightily, and it's not all on Jordan Love. He's been all right, but the weapons have been poor. So yeah, pretty tense. I think you got it spot on though. London's the one that I do like out of that group.
Do you think they're of those three? Obviously, you paid a first round pick to get them. Are you paying a first round pick for any of these guys still today?
I think with London, I think it's a fair price for a one to be included. But I would just be mindful to understand where it's going to land. Like if you're a deep contending team, if it's going to be late, go for it. Play it as a play where, he's going to have depth this season to be a flex wide receiver free, but then potentially a mega in the future to keep that dynasty rolling. If it's going to be early or mid to early, it's difficult. You probably want to roll again and just hope to hit that star, depending on the build up of your team. But I think you want me to discuss some running backs now, Mags.
Yeah, same kind of thing, right? The sophomore running backs, and like, do you think these guys are still worth that first round pick that you paid for them? So the three that I highlighted for you, Kev, were, I mean, two I think are, well, for me, a slam dunk, and the other one's more maybe up for debate. It's Breece Hall, it's Kenneth Walker, and James Cook.
Yeah, I think Breece Hall has lived up to expectations of what I thought it was. His dynasty value, even through injury, stayed pretty solid, pretty high. I've never seen him dip out of that top 5. Kenneth Walker, I was down on him before this season. I thought Charbonnet, I thought the lack of sort of pass usage. Him and ETN were two guys that I was lower on, but I've been proven wrong, really. Definitely on ETN, maybe on Kenneth Walker, especially after this weekend.
Charbonnet good.
So I would struggle to pay just a random 24 first for him right now. I think that's the same with a lot of running backs. And then James Cook. Yeah, I just think he's one of those where the talent's not really been behind the numbers all along. He got pushed up in my pre-draft rankings because of the draft capital. He's nowhere near the level of his brother in his peak. I just think, he's not someone I've been looking to acquire. I don't think I actually own him in any Dynasty League either. The only offers I've been getting for me to buy James Cook, someone's selling them to me, which I've not entertained at this stage. How about you?
Nah, I'm not. I just don't think he's a great player, and I just find it hard to trust that long term. I think if I can see that he's not the best player in the world, then surely the Buffalo Bills can see that as well. And he's on a quick path to getting replaced coming in the next draft or two. So I'm not loving James Cook. I think you're right. Breece Hall smash it. You'd obviously, you'd love it if you could just pay up first for him. Kenneth Walker. I think I would still give it. I'd be happy giving it a first round pick for Kenneth Walker. Pretty happy, but I don't think I would do it for James Cook. No,
definitely not for Cook.
No, definitely not. And then the last one is the quarterbacks. We'll just kind of go quick fire here, Kev. Just would you pay a first round pick for any of these quarterbacks? So Kenny Pickett, first round pick in a super flex, let's say. First round pick for Kenny Pickett, yes or no?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Desmond Ridder, first round pick, yes or no?
No.
Me neither. And then the interesting one, Sam Howell.
I'm not going to answer that yet, Mags. I think we might have an answer later on in the show.
Wow.
Teaser.
Wow.
That is a teaser. But I just think those first two, like anybody that ever has paid attention to me will know that they're like my two least favourite QBs ever in the all-time of the league. And I think they're two teams, the Falcons and the Falcons, they're a nightmare. To the Steelers, they might make the playoffs, but they're going to be out first round. Just like the Falcons, if they make the playoffs out first round with that QB.
Agreed.
So, what's the point?
Yeah.
Indeed. And speaking of what's the point, this injury just made me think, what is the point in playing Dynasty? Because I'm going to talk about Kirk Cousins' Achilles heel, which obviously injuries aren't a laughing matter, but it's provided to be an Achilles heel in my Dynasty portfolio. I have a lot of Kirk Cousins, which I'll come on to in a little bit. But I think it's a mega injury for a guy that's never been injured before, someone that's been so consistent over the years as that QB2, QB1 guy, someone that's perennially been underrated in Dynasty, someone that was ranked in the 20s this offseason, despite being in the best situation of his career and that proven track record tied to Dynasty wide receiver 1 and other really exciting bits, Hawkinson, Addison as well. I think Cousins' future is really murky. Like, he's a free agent after this season. We don't know where he's going to be, if he's going to be ready. Apparently there is progress already, but literally the injury 2 days ago, so I don't know how I can say it's progress already on that. He's already dropped in Dynasty values at QB 30 at Keep Trade Cut. He's dropped immediately because, not every team's going to be interested in him. It's going to be your rebuilders only. He's an interesting one. I think if I didn't have loads of him anyway, I would be looking to buy, especially on rebuilders. I think he will end up with a starting job once he's fit. The big debate for me is, will he be ready for week 1 next season? If not, then you're going to end up like a Kyler situation where in your startups, it will be value, but if you're going to end up being a contender, you can't really bank on him as your QB2 that's going to miss 6-10 weeks of the season, like Kyler has. So I think, Cousins, it's a sickening situation for him in Dynasty, but I think there's other players that are going to be impacted by the injury. And we have had some news in the last couple of hours about the Vikings training for Josh Dobbs, so we know that he's going to be the QB for this season. But just focusing on guys like your Jefferson, your Addison, your Hawkinson, how do you think that impacts them short term and long term in Dynasty with this Kirk Cousins injury?
Huge. Has to be. I think the one that might be more insulated is Justin Jefferson, because he's just good enough to win with anybody playing a quarterback. But I would be kind of more concerned about your Hawkinsons and your Jordan Addisons, even though they're very, very good players. Josh Dobbs, he's really good. Fair play to him. He's great over at Arizona. His wide receiver, Marquise Brown, he's okay. A couple of people have looked pretty good with him throwing the ball, but he is not even close to being as good as an arm talent as Kirk Cousins. There's going to be a dip. There has to be. I'm excited. Is this the one and only time we're going to get a Justin Jefferson buy window? This is what I'm excited about. Do you think this might be a time, or are most people just nah, it's Justin Jefferson, I'm not selling him?
Yeah, that is an interesting question, because your contenders that are getting Jefferson, those thinking, Jefferson's going to get back very soon. He's got Cousins, happy days. Maybe they start to get itchy feet and think, actually, Josh Dobbs is a downgrade. I've seen questions asked about, is it him or Chase, which people say they're in the same tier.
Don't sleep on AJ Brown. That's all I'm saying as well. He's right up there.
I did the opposite trade. I traded away Jefferson for AJ Brown and other bits. But yeah, like you say, there's potential where you're almost getting that as a 1-for-1, or definitely for Chase. So it's one to consider. I think, in terms of the whole thing, Jefferson's interesting. I think Hawkinson, he might get found out now. He's been getting there on volume as opposed to talent in my eyes, which some people are massive fans of Hawkinson, but I just don't think he's at that top. I don't think he can ever be a Kelsey or an Andrews. And then you're trying to think about what you do if you're a Kirk Cousins owner. If you're QB2, what sort of trades are you thinking about? And I was racking my brain thinking, obviously you can spend future picks and just replace with a new QB and hold Cousins. There's not going to be many teams wanting to do that. Cousins for X sort of deal. And then it got me thinking about Josh Dobbs. Right. I'm interested in Josh Dobbs. He's entering a way better situation with Arizona. He's got the chance on this team to come in and work with the best weapons of his career. Likely Cousins is either going to be signed to a major discount where Dobbs has got a chance to start next season, or he's out of town. And there's a situation where the Vikings could end up rolling with Dobbs and a rookie that they're taking, say, round 1. Maybe it's the third QB off the board as it stands.
See if it's Michael Penix Jr., my goodness me.
Yeah, but I think with having Dobbs there, he's under incentive to perform, to get them away from those early picks and maybe secure himself a job. And if we look back 10 weeks to when he started for the Cardinals, and people were joking about there's this scientist that's starting, it's terrible. And I was skeptical, but if you look at the bare fantasy numbers, he's done all right in a really tough situation. I think he's outperformed. He's been better than I thought. He's in a situation that's going to look favourable. I just said a few minutes ago, Desmond Ridder, I'm not his biggest fan. I think he's out of the door this season, in my view. If you can do Ridder for Dobbs and get a little bit, to me, that seems like a really sensible move.
Is the move, do you just trade Kirk Cousins for Josh Dobbs straight up? If you've got a load of Kirk Cousins?
I wouldn't do that. I'm not that confident.
Is that maybe like, it's an interesting one, right?
I just think like for me as a Cousins owner, as a big Cousins owner, like you're not going to get the value. But like if I'm doing Cousins 1-for-1, like someone down at that range of Ridder, it's that's too much for me because I know that Cousins is going to be a starter when he's healthy.
Yeah.
So he's going to, if anybody can do a deal, Cousins for another QB straight up, and it's of a good level. Personally, I'd be shocked. I think that the move is either to spend future capital and hold Cousins and then deal with that problem later down the road, or that, not a problem, but good problem, or go for someone a little bit lower. Maybe you can get Dobbs for like a third. Maybe people are out on him.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I think Dobbs is a classic case, though, of anytime anyone has any kind of value, people just demand too much for him, and like it's 9 times out of 10, people are going to be asking you for. I guarantee there'll be people out there who want a first-round pick for Josh Dobbs. Like, I guarantee it.
Yeah. I think Dobbs is an option, but I think another option is a QB. It's a position where, personally, I think you've got to be in a position where you're happy to overpay, especially if you're paying up at that top end. So that is another option as well, where you just go, right, I'm paying a first and a second for someone that's going to be really solid for a while, like a Dak or someone like that, someone in that range.
Yeah.
I mentioned overpaying there. We're going to move on to win now overpays. So, Matt, you've got an interesting...
Yeah.
Can we call it a game?
Yeah, sort of again. I just want to push your upper bound limits, Kev. Really, is what I really want to do. So, first of all, great segue though. I absolutely love that. I see what you were doing with that. Just lead it into that was great. So I've got 3 players that really like come to mind right now as 3 like ultimate sort of win now players. They're not long for the league. We know they're not long for the league, but boy, are they good, right? They are. I mean, arguably on the hottest streak of all the players in their positions right now. It's Alvin Kamara, it's Tyreek Hill, and it's Travis Kelce. So, Kev, we're going to put you in a situation here, which I'm sure you're in a lot of leagues, where you are really, really looking very strong to win a championship, right? But you're just like, you know what? You can never be too careful. You can never have too many star players.
Yeah.
How much extra are you putting on top whenever you're like right up there with confidence and you know you just need that extra little piece? So, for example, right now, Alvin Kamara, you get a trade offer for Alvin Kamara for this championship team, but it's for a first round pick in 2025. You accepting it? Yes or no?
I think that's... I mean, if you said 2025, I mean, yes, but 2025 puts me off slightly.
Yeah. So the 24, I think that's obvious, right? Because
that's going to be late, definitely, if you're contending. I'll tell you what, I would. And the reason why, you mentioned Alvin Kamara, he's streaking like Frank the Tank in old school, actually, just is on fire. Frank the Tank, but... yeah, he's like we'll go through the rest of the players. And I'll give you the thought process, but it's something that the three players we're going to discuss, they all share this same trait, which I think is important for overpays as such. So yeah, I would pay that for Kamara.
Okay, that was just a warm up. I knew you were going to say yes to that, because what if it's not just that, but it's a first, but also a 24-second on top of that?
See, this is where it's getting a little bit dicey,
right?
I think if I'm a 1 or 2 seed, yeah. If I'm in that 3 to 6 range, no, I'm probably out on that.
Yeah, that's kind of the purpose of this topic, because I'm right in the same boat with you here. I think if you're right up there, if you're seed 1 or seed 2, you kind of have to be willing to have these overpays just to make sure you get over the line. Because the last thing you want to do is, be the number 1 seed, get all the way. I just watched Ireland lose the World Cup at the rugby. Like, you don't want to be the number 1 seed and then fall at the last hurdle. Like, that's really not what you want. You want to make sure, and I think the best way to do that is, to have these overpays. Like a first and a second for Alvin Kamara is an overpay, but who cares if you win a championship, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's about. It's not about maintaining value. You want to win the ship and give yourself the best chance to have buys and get to them less coin flips at the end.
Absolutely. So then that's knowing that we're going to overpay as much as possible. Is that before I go into the other players, is that the absolute most you would pay for Alvin Kamara?
Yeah, I think 24 first or 25 first is where I'm at.
Yeah. What about Tyreek Hill? What's the most, like, let's say someone's like, I need 2 firsts for Tyreek Hill.
I think the only time I'd pay 2 firsts for Tyreek Hill is if I had Tua. If it was just your random team without a stack, first and a second is my max. Or something like really random, like a first now and a first in 2026. Because I think you've got a couple of years then to sort of make more moves.
Yep. And then Travis Kelce, what's the most you're going to pay? Around the same first and second, maybe to that same 2 first thing?
I think him and Tyreek are very similar. Where if they're the final piece, you could persuade me into a 2 firsts, but it wouldn't be 2 24 firsts. Definitely not.
What about if somebody said it's 2 firsts, but they'll also sign you up for Tyreek's OnlyFans when he becomes a porn star?
It's tempting. I politely decline.
Yes, good decision. Yes, I think.
I think in terms of overpays, like I touched on Kamara, that all these 3 have something in common in my view, and that's when you're overpaying, when you're involving firsts or future firsts. I don't want that to be a 1-year guy. I don't want that to literally be, I'm buying Derrick Henry, and then next season I'm getting nothing from him. Yeah. And I think these 3 guys, Kamara, Hill, Kelce, in my view, they're going to be a similar level as they are now throughout next season. So that gives me that comfort spending first. So I would just be careful to anybody out there spending future first or spending a 24 first on someone that is literally going to be out, either like done or very poor next season. A lot of risk.
Yeah.
Wow, that was very intense, Max. Got me thinking about overpays, and this next topic, I wouldn't say it's think about overpays, but it's getting people to think. Yeah, it's all about buying or selling in a trade. So I'll try to be as concise as possible on this, because I went down a rabbit hole on Sunday night watching the games. It all started with the Giants. Thinking about the Giants and Daniel Jones and how they're playing so poorly that they're getting closer and closer to first pick, second pick in the draft, and it's putting them in QB range.
I just love that stat that our very own Paul Picken had on the rewind show. Like, the Giants wide receivers had -4 yards or something between them. Like, unbelievable.
Shout out to Paul Picken. What a guy. Doing the God's work in his Champions League. But yeah, just Daniel Jones got me thinking about him and how the Giants are ending up in range for QB. And then it got me thinking, like, well, I've got Daniel Jones in I think 1 or 2 dice leagues, which is really low for me. But how do I get him off my team. Like if I'm worried about him, if I'm really worried they're going to take, I'll be in a spot to take a Drake May. How do I trade him? And thinking like bigger picture, like when I'm doing trades, when I'm offering trades, am I trying to buy someone? Or am I offering a trade out to try and sell someone now? I think logically people assume, right, I'm a contender, I'm going to buy. Or I'm rebuilding, I'm going to sell. But we'll just pat that for a little bit. I just want to get your thoughts, Mags, on yourself, your situation, when you're thinking of compiling a trade and sending it out. Two-part question. First of all, what percentage of trades are you sending where you're trying to buy someone as opposed to selling? And then the second part is a little bit about Daniel Jones. If you're someone you're really worried about, what's the tactics or strategies to sell that person?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting. I can see how you like fall down a rabbit hole with this.
I did.
I think it's quite an interesting one because when I'm buying, I tend to I'm kind of buying. This is maybe not the best analogy, right? I'm kind of buying with like a Tommy gun, right? I'm spraying the block. But when I'm selling, it's more like I'm using a sniper rifle. Like I'm really targeting and really zoning in on certain things and exactly what I want. When I'm buying, I'm just like, when I talked like 2 weeks ago about there's a Jackson Smith and Jigga buy window. And it's like, you might be able to go get him for a first round pick. If you're in a league with me and you own him, you got an offer from me for a first round pick for Jackson Smith and Jigga. Because I went out and I did, thank God Sleeper did this last year. They had the other league thing. Oh my goodness, what an absolute godsend. Because it means it takes 5 minutes, not 20 to go do that. So when I'm trying to buy, that's what I'm doing a lot of the time. Most of the time I like to have like conversations with us when it's a bigger trade. But when I'm actively trying to sell, I'm going through, I'm looking at people's rosters, I'm looking at like gaps that people have, and then looking at like how old are they, what kind of first round pick or second round pick do I want to target. It's a much more methodical approach whenever I'm trying to sell. I actually prefer selling players, which is weird, than buying players. I think it's just I think it's a more like satisfying thing whenever you're able to like get a good deal and sell somebody that you might not want in your team or you feel like is, just being overpriced. And I kind of go after it. I mean, we're in a league together where I tried to sell Cooper Kupp for a solid 6 months. I finally got it done, but you have to just stay resilient with it. You got to keep on hammering at it as well. And until you get what you want, really. Yeah,
I think it's that. I mean, first of all, you've said a lot of good things in your content creating career. I think your analogy with the Tommy gun and the sniper rifle is beautiful. It's one of the best, Max. So
thank you.
Well done on that. I think part of me going down the rabbit hole and bringing this up on tonight's show, it's about provoking thoughts. And I know I did a poll last year about a similar question. When you're doing trades, are you buying or selling? And it was like 55% said buy, 45% said yes, which ties in with when you're a contender, you buy. When you're a rebuilder, you sell. I think the view I've got is we need to change the philosophy. I think there's a massive gap. There's a massive opportunity for people to zag as such and start thinking about, and this will help prolong your dynasty as well. I'm a contending side. How can I sell and get a good value on that, or on certain assets? Or as a rebuilder, who can I buy that's going to spike in value and create more value to my roster? So people will stick to that. Buying is contending is buying, rebuilding is selling. But I think zag and try and think about, well, actually, I can make a trade like I'm a contender with Jefferson. If I can pivot and get AJ Brown and first, like let's say 3 weeks ago, that's looking pretty solid now, because then you've got first in your pocket to be flexible and do what you want. And likewise, I think if you're a rebuilder, there's an opportunity to grab a Kirk Cousins for a second, probably.
Yeah,
he's going to become a first in value when he's starting again. So just getting people to think about it, like you can zag and do something a little bit different, and you don't always have to be buying as a contender and selling as a rebuilder was the the overall point.
Yeah, and also you don't, because I get this in some leagues where, like, not very, very many, but like people be like, oh, you've got like 6 quarterbacks. You don't need that many. Sell me one like for cheap. It's like, no. Like, just because I've drafted quarterbacks really, really well doesn't mean I'm going to sell you one for cheap. It's the same price it would be if I had one quarterback. Like, I'm not going to suddenly, just because I've done well at collecting all these things, just because you're a contender, doesn't mean that you should ship people off on the cheap because you got a great team. Like, yeah, I'm sure no one's really doing that, but some people for some reason message me saying, "Oh, you've got 6 quarterbacks. Like, you should be able to just sell one to me for a bargain." It's like, that's not how it works, mate.
Yeah, the reply back to you is like, "Yeah, you've got one." So
it's like you could have 2, like if you play the cards right. But yeah.
I've got all the cards here. It's like it's brilliant. I love that. Yeah, we're going to move on to our next topic. And at the start of the show, we did tease about we're gonna make it a little bit about the day we're recording. Obviously, it's Halloween, and I've got a couple of topics for the show that are quite interesting. We've got Halloween scares. Max, let us know what you mean by Halloween scares.
Yeah, so I just picked a couple of players, Kev. Some players that have been, had a couple of scary times during their career, but it's all good now. But they've been down a scary path in the past. So I'm going to describe some of these players, and I'm going to see if you can guess who they are behind the scary mask.
Scooby-Doo.
Right? Absolutely. So let's start off with a quarterback. Okay. So this quarterback was drafted in 2020. He had a losing record over his first 2 years at the team. In 2020, his quarterback rating on ESPN's quarterback rating meter was 33.8, which is lower than Zach Wilson is now. So that's bad. And he had a 52% pass completion rate. In 2021, he did step up a bit with 61% pass completion. And he had a 48.5 quarterback rating. That's about what Josh Dobbs has now. So definitely a little bit better. But in 2022 and 2023, he put all that behind him. He had a true breakout year and continues to excel in the NFL. Who is that quarterback?
I think you might be trying to pull my leg here, Max. I mean, just on last season, this season, it feels a bit Jalen Hurts, if that's right. Yeah. I don't even know if I got
Jalen Hurts is correct. Well done.
Oh, yes. Come
Absolutely spot on. Good old Zoolander himself, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely spot on, Neil. So let's move to running back then. Yeah. So who's behind this mask? Running back drafted in 2021, but we never seen him play then at all. In 2022, he had 7 games where he scored under 10 points, 3 of which were actually under 5. But in 2023, he's a running back 1. He's only been under 10 points once, and he's actually been over 20 points 5 times. Who is it?
Yeah, I think I got this one like pretty early,
Yeah.
I think the big key was he didn't play in his rookie season.
Yep.
It has to be Travis Trick or Treatien, right?
Travis Trick or Treatien is absolutely spot on, Kev. Absolutely.
Love it. Come on.
I got 2 more for you. I got a wide receiver and I've got a tight end as well. All right. Yeah. So the wide receiver was drafted back in 2019. In 2019, he missed time with a pulled hamstring and a concussion. In 2020, he missed time with a high ankle sprain on 2 separate occasions. In 2021, he missed time because of a hamstring and a concussion again.
Jeez.
In 2022, he had his best year on record in NFL. He became an All-Pro. He had a clean bill of health for the first time in his career. He had his best fantasy season ever. And it was the only year his ADP dropped after. Which is bizarre.
See, like, I'm getting old now. Like, you tell me a year, and I don't know if it's this draft class or that draft class.
I'll give you a clue.
Go on.
It's the Halloween episode. I can only pick one person. There's only one wide receiver it could be.
I mean, I'm just thinking about like wide receivers with Halloween sort of themes. Maybe like, well, is it Debo?
It's not Debo.
Oh, I thought Debo with that Friday, that film. Who is it?
It's Scary Terry McLaurin. Oh.
I'm embarrassed.
Couldn't pick anybody else but Scary Terry on the Halloween episode. And I've got a tight end for you, okay? Drafted all the way back in 2017. He had a pretty good rookie year. And in his second year, he was actually tight end 9. But that would be his best every year because he's finished as tight end 85, tight end 48, tight end 23, then tight end 10, and then tight end 16 last year. He's never seen over 100 targets. He's never had more than 4 touchdowns in a season. But Kev, the good news is people still love him. And they still believe that he can be a top-tier tight end.
God. I'm trying to think that year, like, that'll be the Mark Andrews year, I think. Maybe. Not saying Mark Andrews, by the way. That doesn't fit the narrative.
No.
Someone like... I don't know if I got it right. Yeah, like Hayden Hurst, Jonnu Smith, someone. I don't know.
I mean, the clue was I'm talking to one of those people, Kev, who still believe in him. It's David Njoku.
Oh my God. I'm his biggest fan as well, so he's going to be absolutely fuming at that.
He had a pretty good Halloween outfit, right? He had that mask thing. That wasn't even for Halloween, was it?
No,
that was
just general wear that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
who was it had the jacket? Was that Myles Garrett had like the big jacket with all the quarterbacks he sacked? Oh, that's
heroic.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And then that's the last one I got. That's the Halloween Scares game.
I should have realised that there was some sort of theme there, shouldn't I? With the title of it. That was a good game though.
Thank you.
I started too well.
Yeah.
So yeah, we speaking of starting to, I mean, we're going to finish the show really well. We're going to keep it on theme, and everybody's whenever you think Halloween, biggest thing you think of trick or treat.
Yes,
my trick or treat is at my house today. I'll be having the eating the remains, as in the chocolates that's left over, not their bodies.
The children who come and visit.
Exactly. So we're going to have a little trick or treat game, basically. Simple game. We're going to name a player, and basically you've got to tell us moving forward in Dynasty, are they a trick? Are they a treat? So it's a simple, basically, are you in or out on them? Are they going to trick you? If you buy them, are they going to trick you and they're going to ruin you? Or is it a treat? You buy them and it's going to be better than expected. So we'll just go in order. I've just put 5 names. People that's had pretty good week 8s, and then they were topical. So first one, Will Levis, QB19. He's costing around 26 first.
Oh, that's a trick, Kev. Like for me anyway, that's a real trick. Like he's someone that fell very far in the rankings. I mean, he's looked better than Ryan Tannehill, but I mean, that's not a very high bar. Yeah. You can launch it down to DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins, he'll make you look good. But I think if you're shelling out a first round pick on Will Levis just right away, I think that's a trick just for now anyway.
It's an interesting one with me for Levis because I was very impressed seeing the every throw from this game. I didn't expect it. I've got quite a bit of him because though I still think there's going to be a stage where you can get more than what you paid for him. You'll add to that. I think people have probably paid a late first for him in some places, maybe a second in certain spots. So I think at this moment to buy him now is a trick because I do think 6 months, I think it'll be a treat, you know. I think when I see what sort of a rookie season Kenny Pickett had and his value rose really steadily to QB 15 range, I think Levis could do the same. So I think he's a trick now, but he's a treat if you like to live a little bit dangerously on Halloween. We're going to move on. Sam Howell is the next one. We did touch upon him a little bit earlier on. Sam Howell, QB 17, so similar price, 2026 first. Trick or treat?
So, against my better judgment, I still think it's a trick. I don't know why. But I'm not sold on Sam Howell. He's doing everything he possibly can to sell me on him and to do really well. But I'm not there yet. He's performing. I think he's a top 10 quarterback in the year. I think he might even be. He's well up there. But I still think it's a trick. I don't know. I think Eric Bieniemy's a magician. He can do anything, and he's making Sam Howell look real good. I still think it's a trick.
Yeah, I'm doubling down because I've been a bit of a Sam Howell hater because I'm a draft capital fan, and I think being a day three guy, every team's passed him several times. I don't think he's the Commanders QB to start next season, especially with what they're doing, trading away all the best defensive players. I don't understand what the plan is there unless they're going into a full rebuild of some sort. New owners, there's got to be a new QB there. I think what Howell's done is he's shown he's good enough to play in the NFL, whether that's over a short period as a really high-end backup or someone that's potentially a bridge guy, a journeyman in the future. Fitzmagic, Winston type person, but
his teammate.
Yeah. So I think he's a trick as well. I think QB 17 is a little bit hot for someone that's got so much questions over a starting role anyway next season. Next one, Gus Edwards, running back 46. You can get him for a mid-third. Is he the real deal? Is he a trick or treat for now?
Oh, treat. Easy. Any mid-third, that's nothing. You're like mid-third for a guy that's going to start at running back when the running backs are so bad right now. Yeah, give me that. That's an absolute treat.
Yeah, I think we're just passing the trade deadline now, so assuming there's no Derrick Henry signed for the Ravens, we're in a good place with that.
Yeah.
We're going to fly through the last two at the same position tight end. First one, Trey McBride, tight end 14, so he's costing you a 24 late second.
That's a close one. That's about right, isn't it? I'll go treat. I'll go treat because he's looked really good. Trey McBride, he easily sort of rated the tight end one in his class whenever he was coming in. He hasn't really done much because he's been playing behind Zach Ertz, who, I mean, he's just still a really good player. Now he's injured. He's got a bit of a chance to shine. Yeah, I'll throw a second out. That's about when people are going to have a dart throw on a tight end in the draft anyway. So yeah, I'll throw a second out for Trey McBride. He's looked good.
I think as well, like a smart move if you fall planning for a guy like you've got ETN. ETN. Where's that come from? I'll tell you why.
ETN.
It's because I've got Travis in my head. I'm going to talk about Travis Kelce. If you've got Travis Kelce and you're a contending team, obviously, throw your late second at McBride. You've got your succession plan.
Yeah.
Your late seconds are going to be, in most scenarios, at a dart for anyway. So, I think as prospects as well, Trey McBride, I had him right up there. Very similar to Kincaid, Laporta, etc. So, yeah, if he pans out, he's going to be top 5 potential in my eyes still. Last one, trick or treat. We had to finish on this guy, which he's the ultimate trick or treat person. Taysom Hill, tight end 32, 2024, mid to late third. Taysom Hill, can he be a tight end for you that you can start the rest of the season?
Only in best ball. If you are starting Taysom Hill in anything but best ball, you are a pistol-toting wild man. Like, that is a brave person to go and start Taysom Hill. In best ball, give me that all day, but I'm not brave enough to play him there. He's all or nothing, right?
Exactly that. I think, if you're playing Taysom Hill, you're absolutely crazy unless it's best ball. I've had it where he's played against me the last couple of weeks, just random teams that have had players on buys and just thinking, I hate you. Like, honestly, he's so bad. Like, just the sporadic runs he has, and he'll put up like nothing for weeks. So
I still think the Saints should play him at running back sometimes. I don't understand why he never lines up. Like, he could do it.
Yeah, it just means when you're paying your first and your second for Alvin Kamara, you're in a lot of trouble. So yeah, Taysom Hill, what a place to finish the show. That's us recapping week 8 of the Dynasty season. We've had some amazing topics tonight. So thank you, Mags. Thank you for tuning in as well, audience. Be sure to follow us on X and YouTube at Fantasy Wildcard and at Wildcard Dynasty. We're here every Tuesday in season. You know what to do. Follow us, like us, subscribe to us. Thank you once again. Have a good evening. Have a great Halloween, and we'll see you again